Welcome back. Now it is time. Edward Hayden has finally got a bit of good food this morning. What have we got, Edward?
I'm doing a lovely chicken and mushroom pie with spinach for you this morning.
We had our first one last Monday night. That means it's officially winter.
Pie.
First what? Pie.
Pie time.
Oh, yeah.
Pie time.
Yeah. It's a real kind of November, December, January thing, isn't it?
I love pastry.
Yes.
Yeah, and people love pastry. And sometimes then you can just have it with a salad. It cuts down the need for potatoes or things like that. So
I just have pastry on its own,
I would
personally.
completely just eat it. It was meant to last us 2 days. We ate it all on Monday night.
Yeah, well, that's it. That's allowed. Now, here what I've got in my pot. I've just got some chicken, and just during the break, I've started sealing that off because it's really important to seal it off, particularly before you put the salt and pepper onto it. And then you can put in a selection of bits and pieces to it. So what I've just got a little bit of chopped garlic. I've got some diced onion. I've got some mushrooms. Again, I'm using the chestnut mushrooms in there.
Maybe go handy on them now.
Yeah, I went handy on this one in here for you. And then I've got some leeks, okay, and just I've cut the leeks in half and just given them a really good wash.
Do you use the whole leek?
I use the whole leek. I kind of cut off a bit off the bottom,
end, okay.
the very, very green, but I actually like to use a bit of the green, not just all the white. I think it's nice in terms of the colour. But again, think about changing this around, and that's what I always say. Think about putting in maybe some carrots and turnips. Think about putting in maybe some kale in there. Think about putting in kind of maybe something more onto the Mediterranean. So things like the lovely peppers, some aubergine, some courgettes as well. So as always with lots of the recipes that I or anyone else does, you know, take them and adapt them and make them your own to what you've got.
Like, it's so versatile.
In your perfectly organised fridge.
In our fridge. That's
Tomatoes that weren't in the fridge.
But in all
Squeeze of orange.
But if you've got all this food in your big American-style fridges and it's going to waste,
use it.
Lump it in.
Yeah, we have to be so
Exactly.
mindful of food waste. Now, so that's basically that. In there, what I'm going to do then is I'm going to put in some plain flour. So just put in a little bit of flour in there, and then that will kind of give you like a kind of a dry consistency. Just look at how that dries that off.
Yeah.
Then put in some liquids. You can put in some white wine, you can put in some stock, or you can put in some milk. So I've just got some milk here, and I'm just going to pop that in.
So that's what the sauce is?
That's
just
what
milk
the sauce
and flour?
is. Milk and flour. And as I said, if you wanted that, if it wasn't a Monday, you might have a little dot. Maybe on a Monday, you might have a small drop of wine left in the bottle. If that ever happens, you could put that in. Cook that down then for about 15 or 20 minutes until it just kind of cooks quite gently. You will need just to keep a little occasional stir on that there as well, because you just need to keep an occasional stir just to make sure that it's not
stick to the bottom and stuff.
That's not going to stick to the bottom. Yeah, absolutely. Now here what I've got then is I've got my mixture that I've transferred. So this is the kind of the resultant mixture. I've transferred it in. Then I'm just going to take a little bit of egg and milk, brush that right the way around the edge of the bowl, just like so. Okay. And then I've got a little bit of pastry, so just around the top and the edge, I've just got a little bit of puff pastry, which I have here.
Now, I was going to ask Edward, sorry, that isn't to the very top. You don't want it to the top?
No, I'm not going to have it fully to the top because I'm going to give you like a rise, if you like, on the actual pastry. So I hope I haven't overshot the runway now in cutting this. I don't think I have. Okay, so just spread that right to the very edge. Okay, and just pull it to the edge, okay? Just like that. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to just cut off around that, but the egg wash that I've put on the outside of the pastry, that will be sufficient to kind of to stick the pastry. So you should have a little bit of a tower on that.
Now, is that short crust pastry or phyllo pastry?
Puff pastry, okay. And then just egg wash it really, really nicely. And again, just make sure that all of the egg wash is covered on that as well. Okay, so then that's going to go into the oven, 180, 350 gas mark for about 20 minutes. And if you wanted, if you had the time, you could... What did you say to me?
You put a hole on the top?
No, you don't need to put a hole on the top. Because you want to... you want to let it rise up really well. You could put a few leaves on the top of it. Just, you know, I've arranged a few leaves on it.
Very nice.
I've arranged a few more on the one I've in the oven. Now, I had a bit of oven issues this morning, so please God, this will be all good. Yeah.
Oh, look at this.
Absolutely.
And so how does it not explode and kind of flow?
It's the kind of the steam will swell it all up. The steam will swell it all up and rise it all up. And I've got my lovely flour.
The space where?
So it wasn't filled up to the very top. So there was space for the steam to come
look
up
at then what we've got. We've got our lovely mixture. We've got our lovely plates here. And then what I tend to do is just lift off a bit of that, get your lovely filling. Okay, put all of that lovely filling in and a little bit of the crispy pastry on the top. And pass that down to the Bananti.
Happy for the cookery segment today.
You're ready for it this morning, Tommy.
I am, but it is the thing. You're always like when it's pastry. You're always mad to be.
Yeah, I always thought you'd put your fork bits on the top.
Now look, I have very few mushrooms in that for you.
Thank you.
See the way I mind you.
You are
So when do you know not to pierce the top?
Again, when I want it to swell. I want that to dome up, if you like. Do you know what I mean? I want it to kind of to swell up and all of the steam underneath it. You would always prick the bottom of it if you don't want it to kind of rise. If you're making like the mille-feuille or when you're doing a kind of a quiche Lorraine, when you don't want it to rise, that's where you kind of prick it or make incisions. But when I do want it to rise, you don't prick that at all at this stage.
Right. And I see. So you have spinach. So you have loads of stuff. You can literally put anything into this
Once
pie,
this is kind of literally nearly cooked at this stage, you put in the lovely spinach. I've just got some spinach which I've taken the stalks off of that there as well, and it's lovely. But also people at home might think of using the kind of the pie mixture with some rice or with some pasta. Cook up some lovely pasta wearing and throw it into that as well, or a mixture into a vol au vent. Cook some vol au vent cases.
Yes,
it's nice, isn't it?
Had a whole thing about vol au vent cases, Edward. This is delicious.
The sauce is so simple.
But so tasty as well.
You should think about doing this tonight or anyway. Edward,
I thought you were going to say I should think about it as a little job for myself.
You should do this.
I'm definitely going to consider it.
Edward, this is delicious. Thank you so much. Excellent.
I'll let you take
That
it
is
away
so
there
good.
now.
On Tuesday's show, we'll be chatting Panto. Oh, why did I do this? With Fair City's Ryan Andrews and Father Ted stars Joe Rooney and Pat McDonald will also be dropping by.
And Irish TikTok star Miriam Mullins on creating content and being a role model. And the Doctor of Happiness tells us about creating his new book. I love him.
You
He's
love
class.
the Doctor of Happiness.
He is so good. We can all
Proper
learn
smile
something
on the
from
face.
him.
And that's exactly what we'll need tomorrow morning. I would really like Edward to be coming back and doing more of this tomorrow.
It's really good. And do you know what, Edward? I'm not a big fan of mushrooms, but I just had one there and
Tommy,
very nice.
Try the chestnut. The chestnut mushrooms are a little bit different. That's where the flavour is, the lovely chestnut mushrooms. Have I a convert?
We'll see you tomorrow morning from 7. Bye-bye.